Welcome to the Friday, April 27th, 2012 version of Market Plus. Thanks for joining us here at our Market to Market website. Just before we did the show, a couple of things came across the newswire that are insignificant, and yet I'm concerned about what they might do to the cattle market come Monday. Fortunately, Walt Hackney is with us this week, and Walt, the story came across from NBC that processors are using a product they call meat glue, which sounds a lot like pink slime, which we just went through, which was lean, finely textured beef. And we talk about meat glue. I mean, we've been trying to reconstitute different parts of the beef animal to make it into appealing steaks at a very low cost for a long time. Is that really what we're talking about here when they're calling this meat glue?
According to the information actually that I got from your own staff, Mark, it looks like an attempt to be discredited the beef industry. And it looks like we'll have another battle on our hands because, for instance, as it said, instead of using a toothpick to hold a piece of bacon to a fillet, now they coat it with this meat glue, beef glue, and it'll stick itself. It sounds terribly unpalatable. And the people that are prone to believe in that information will come out strongly again against beef. Now, they do say in that article that it was intended to put cheap scraps of low quality beef together into a good steak that would fool the most conscientious eater. I doubt that.
Yeah.
And so that's about all I can say about it, Mark. It'll be another attempt to discredit the beef industry.
No, I didn't think it was worth our time on the show because I think most people are familiar with this. This has been something that's been going on in beef research for years and years. Very safe product as far as that goes. But I did want you to touch on here at Market Plus just so we'd see what kind of the market commentary is. I think you're right. And also the comments that you made on the show relative to the mad cow situation we had in California, which fortunately for the beef industry, we've been hit by a lot of things of late in the beef industry. I know a lot of cattlemen out there are getting a little frustrated with the media and frustrated with what's happening to the industry. And these attacks that seem to almost come on a regular basis, almost as soon as we get a rally in the beef market, it seems like something else pops up.
Well, and too often, and there's not a thing you can do about that. We must have the same cooperation that we got on the BSE cow in California from the USDA Veterinarian Service. We've got to have that kind of immediate response to these kind of critical issues that are coming out against beef. That's the only defense we have.
We met Virgil just between our breaks here, mentioned the fact that wheat's cheap, corn's not. The economics are certainly there, and the supply is certainly there to increase wheat feeding. And nowhere is that more prevalent than these feedlots right now. What are you hearing from your feeders out there as far as rations and the shifting that they're doing?
Well, there's a lot of merit to feeding wheat. It has to be done with good judgment in regard to the protein content in wheat. And the problem with it being too aggressively fed, it will create a foundering position in the cattle and burn them up, if you will, their liver and so forth. But handled properly with the right kind of a nutritional diet in the ration, wheat is a good additive in a ration. And if it does come in economically feasible, it's a welcome addition to a feeding ration. Corn is the premier product in a good ration, but if cost dictates it goes to a higher percent of wheat, so be it.
Yeah, well, you talked maybe $1.24 on these cattle. I think we should get back to that.
Yes, I feel like the potential is there. I felt like the potential was $1.45 to $6 this week. And then the mad cow deal occurred. There's a little psychological battle going on out in the feedlots. The feedlots spooked to some degree and sold cattle possibly a little bit premature. But actually, Mark, a lot of that were hedged cattle that took a proper basis and went ahead and sold the cattle and still made excellent profit on the cattle.
All right. You talked about hogs, and again, you look at the meat case, this could be another beneficiary of what happens in beef, has been less expensive pork, and it has been just that. What's your outlook? We should be looking at some midsummer rallies, I would think, in the hog business, but you predicted numbers were going to be bigger last fall. Those numbers have hit. What do you see for numbers going forward?
I don't see a lot of change. I think our summer marketing months are going to be probably subject to weekly kills of around 2.1 to 2.2 million hogs a week. And the one thing we've got to watch in there is your average market weight is fluctuating within 1/2 of 1 pound for several months now. Granted, hogs are 4 pounds heavier this year than they were a year ago, but the fact is they're only fluctuating within 1/2 of 1 pound for months.
Yeah.
So you've got a huge control over the marketing process coming off the feeding floors right now.
All right. Virgil Robinson is with us this week, and Virgil, it's always good to hear from you. A couple things I want to ask you about. One of the rallying points this week not only has been potential China business, but obviously this shrinking crop down in South America. Now, we talked to a lot of people. I know you talked to people all over South America. Didn't seem like we had much of a problem with the soybeans until we got to harvest. What was the issue down there?
Well, really, Mark, the department in their monthly WASDE reports did begin to reduce that crop size, dating back to January.
Yeah.
So they did acknowledge the concern, and it's grown progressively from the turn of the calendar, and it's likely that the May 10th report will be lower or smaller as well, Mark. Now, much of that is in the marketplace and has been factored into the marketplace, but as long as China continues to source and originate beans and products out of the U.S., it's going to be difficult to break this market, at least in the near term.
All right. And as we look at soybeans relative to corn right now, beans have an edge.
Oh, the new crop economics, Mark, have swung dramatically in favor of soybeans, and there'll be some people try and take advantage of that. I've seen a modest increase in new crop soybean sales through the local elevator, the terminal elevator, and I'm sure in select markets and select regions, that's precisely what's underway.
Virgil, come in the studio today. I had a call from a farmer. I wanted to ask about this in the show, and I forgot. He called me and said, "Oh, it's the big money again. It's just the big money's lining up now behind soybeans." There you go. They were long cattle before, and then they went long corn. Now they're long beans. Is that a factor? Do we see that yet?
I think there's some truth in that.
This farmer wasn't complaining. I also might add.
Yeah. I think there is some truth in that, Mark. All trend-following systems clearly are trending upward in beans and in meal, and that has a tendency to attract the speculative element or the liquidity in various commodity funds or various hedge funds or various managed money funds, and there is truth in that. I'll stop short of talking about open interest and the change in open interest and volume, Mark, for fear of misleading people, but there is some truth in that.
All right, Virgil, I've only got about a minute left. I just want to talk about new crop corn. I mean, we've had a huge, you look at Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, the percentage of corn that's already in the ground and a big acreage increase. And a lot of people got there early. We had a tremendous early spring with warm weather, and people saw an opportunity to perhaps get a 114-day hybrid into the ground, get that hybrid harvested maybe September 1, Labor Day weekend in there, and still hit this old crop market. Could that change? There's a lot of people out there waiting with some gambling bushels, waiting to have what we've had for the previous 2 years, which is that big transition rally. Could this corn coming out of those fields offset that?
Mark, I think I followed the question. I think those that are trying to partake or who are in position to partake in the early delivery of corn have probably already contracted that, Mark. Perhaps it's insured, should it come up short due to a production issue. But again, as mentioned, we went through kind of a brief lesson with respect to what developed this year in the Southern Hemisphere. We've got a long season to go here. There are any number of things that can yet occur. It's supposed to be cold this weekend. Should that become a problem, or should we enter into an extended period of hot and dry? Dynamics can change very significantly. Speaks to the issue of insurance,
Yes.
in my mind, Mark, and proper risk management
And risk
tactics.
management, absolutely.
Yeah.
Got to wrap it up. Virgil, thank you. Walt, thank you so much. Thank all of you for joining us here on Market Plus, and from all of us here at Market to Market, thanks for being with us. We'll be with you again next week. Have a great week.